45th annual Stockade Roundup will be bringing the best cattle from all across Alberta and Saskatchewan to the Lloyd X for a week of elite cattle shows. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today, I'm happy to be joined by Graydon Kay, the co-chair of the 45th Annual Stockade Roundup, and he is here today to talk to us about the entire event, which will be, of course, beginning today. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Graydon.
No problem. Thanks for having us, Thomas.
So today, cattle move in, Graydon, and so are you guys ready to receive over the 100 head of cattle that you guys are expecting to see at Stockade Roundup this year?
Yeah, we're in good shape down here at the exhibition. So today's kind of the setup day for everybody. Some cattle will roll into town today and some tomorrow morning, and it's always a fun day for me and the whole crew because a lot of work goes into putting on this show, and to see the people trickle into the barns is just so exciting. It's kickoff to the week and one of my favorite weeks personally.
And so Tuesday is the first day where stuff really gets underway. You guys have talked about having the exhibitors social on Tuesday as well. What other great events will be happening on this first day coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock is our Bred Heifer Showdown. So that's a tournament style jackpot show for the bred heifers. That's a program that we started 3 years ago, and it's certainly been a hit. And then following that jackpot show, we're going to have a welcome social. And so that's for all the exhibitors and sponsors, as well as any community members and industry people that want to join us as well. And the Evolution Sale Group of Black Gold Semitals and Greenwood Cattle stepped up to sponsor that for us. And I just think it'll be a really nice way to start off the week and catch up with everyone and just celebrate being back together in the barns.
And so there's been a few schedule changes this year once again, Graydon. What are we going to be looking for on each successive day at Stockade Roundup for the 45th anniversary?
Well, tomorrow evening, like we mentioned before, will be our Bred Heifer Jackpot, followed by our Welcome Social. Wednesday is when we start to get into our breed shows. So we're going to see the all other breeds and percentage show in the morning, followed by the Speckle Parks and the Limousine. And then later in the afternoon on Wednesday, we're going to see our two junior shows. So that'll be the Lloyd Exhibition Junior Show, as well as the Saskatchewan Junior Angus Show. And then in the evening on Wednesday at 6 p.m. is going to be the Stockade Lady Heifer Jackpot Show. Rolling into Thursday, the breeds we see that day will be Semital, Charolais, and Herefords, as well as the Prospect Steer and Heifer Show. And then in the evening, our jackpot show on Thursday is the King of the Ring Bull Jackpot Show. And then Friday is when we see all of our Angus. So our Black and our Red Angus show on Friday. Our Cattleman of the Year awards ceremony will be at noon on Friday. And then the Black and Red Angus bulls in the afternoon. And then, of course, our Supreme show at 5:30. And that's always a really exciting part of the week. So all of our breed champions from every breed show come out to that Supreme show, and they all compete for the overall title. John and Tammy Dolliver coming, as well as Kyle and Jocelyn O'Neill. So between those two couples, they'll kind of alternate days throughout the week, judging all the different breed shows. And then at the end of the week and on Friday evening, the two couples will pair up and they'll judge the Supreme show on Friday evening.
And so, Graydon, how many head are you guys expecting in total, and what is kind of the variety of breeds that we'll be seeing come to the border city this week?
Yeah, across the board, it's really quite good. We're expecting in the ballpark of about 320 head to show up here in the next day or so. Yeah, the barns will be full, and it'll be a great week.
And finally, Graydon, great shows like these can't be done without sponsors, and you guys have two named sponsors that we've talked about again, but just how important are they to making sure that Stockade Roundup can run perfectly every year?
I'd love to thank our presenting sponsors. So Paradise Hill Ranch and Western Wear has been with us for a lot of years now. Them along with Master Feeds are the titles on this event, and it's been a great relationship, and we're just so excited to have them back again this year. And there's countless other sponsors too, and I can't list them all, of course, but we sure appreciate having them on board.
Thank you so much for your time, Graydon, and I know for sure I'm very excited, and I know lots of other cattle enthusiasts from the Lloydminster area will be very excited to come to the Lloyd X for the Stockade Roundup.
Absolutely. Thank you, Thomas. See you this week.
Now here are your agriculture prices for today. It's time now for This Week in Retrospect. Here is Ty Roswell.
Halloween is finally here, but before we get into that, the annual Stockade Roundup in 1994 prepares for a busy week.
Preparations are getting underway for this year's Stockade Roundup. Mike Sidoric says from November 3rd to the 6th, the exhibition grounds will be bursting at the seams.
Our entries are way up again this year. We've got a little over 700 head of purebred cattle offered for sale, as well as we have 3 cattle sales along with it. We have the Lakeland Red Angus, have 60 head of, offered for sale. Forecast Limousine sale have another 75 head offered for sale, and the Border Limousine group have 35 head offered for sale. We've got a tremendous amount of livestock here this year. Entries are way up. The building's going to be packed full of purebred cattle, and we also have our Iowa Met commercial cattle pen show on sale. Cattleman of the Year award this year is going to the late Archie Bell and Irene Bell and family. They're originally from the Chauvin country, and they're very been in the cattle business for a lot of years.
Besides the shows and awards, there are a couple of chances for the public to cash in on some prizes.
We have what we call the Mini Rancher Raffle. We're raffling off a bred heifer this year, again at Stockade Roundup, and we'll have tickets available all through the shows, and the heifer will be here for people to see as well.
Moving on to 1998, Halloween fever hits the border city. Here are some safety tips that will always stand the test of time.
The ghosts and goblins will be out in full force tomorrow night. Yes, it's that time of year to don the creepy costume, run around the town, and howl at the moon. And the great thing is, you won't get arrested. But our CMP have a few tips to keep trick-or-treaters safe.
First of all, we want the kids to be safety, and the first rule of thumb there, I guess, is that they be visible.
Let's go, Devil Dogs!
And that they be in a well-lit part of town, in a residential area with lots of street lights.
Whether you're dressing up as a Spice Girl or as Greg Buchanan, being able to see should be a priority.
We like them also to be able to see well so that other objects are visible to them, so they're not tripping over something like curbs or steps, and that they can see vehicles and that sort of thing that may be in the area.
From everyone at CKSA, have a safe and happy Halloween.
And for those not bundled up enough, in 1998, Border Bowl holds their own Monster Mash.
Starting off at Border Bowl, where the little ghouls and goblins who didn't bundle up to go out on the street were having a great time at the Monster Mash. For $8, kids 12 and under could dress in costume, stay out of the cold, and bowl for a couple of hours. Of course, there were still many who did pull on the long johns and toques and head out with their pillowcases to some scary houses around the city. One of those houses was even haunted.
Welcome to my chambers of midnight madness. Whoa!
Happy Halloween!
And that's it for this week in retrospect, and have a happy Halloween.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
It's time now to look at your adorable pet pictures in our Pet Pics of the Day. If you want to see your pets on the screen, be sure to email your submissions to pets@stingray.com.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
Thanks so much, Cal. And we saw a mix of sun and cloud today, and it wasn't super cold out either. We're sitting at -3, and with that wind chill, it feels closer to -6. So not too bad of a day. For a Monday, I'll take it. It wasn't too cold, but it wasn't too hot either. Across the region in Alberta, -2 in Cold Lake, 0 in Red Deer and Athabasca, 1 in Edmonton, 2 in Whitecourt, 5 in Edson, 4 in Rocky Mountain House, and 3 out in Jasper. And then on the Saskatchewan side, -4 in Meadow Lake, -3 in Prince Albert, North Battleford and Saskatoon, and -5 in Melfort. And if we take a look more up north in Saskatchewan, Uranium City is sitting at -5, -6 in Flin Flon and Stony Rapids, -7 in Wollaston Lake and South End, and -4 in Buffalo Narrows and La Loche. And then on the Alberta side up north, -4 in Fort Chipewyan, -2 in Fort Mac, 1 in Slave Lake and Peace River, 7 out in Grand Prairie, and -3 in High Level. And then down south in Alberta, -3 in Coronation, -2 in Medicine Hat, +1 in Lethbridge and Banff, and Calgary sitting at 2 degrees. And then on the Saskatchewan side, -7 in Kindersley and Swift Current, -6 in Moose Jaw, Regina and Yorkton, and -5 out in Estevan. And then overnight tonight in North Battleford, it will drop down to -10 degrees. Mainly clear skies, but there's about a 42% chance of some late flurries overnight, but later on in the evening. And then overnight tonight in Cold Lake, a 75% chance of some snowfall later on in the evening, accumulating about 1 centimeter of snow is predicted, with the low being -6. And then overnight tonight across the region, -9 in Meadow Lake, Isla Cross and Paradise Hill, -5 in Bonnyville, and -6 in Provost. And there is some snowfall warnings in Meadow Lake, 75% chance of about 1 to 2 centimeters of snow, 71% chance in Bonnyville later on in the evening. And then in Isla Cross, there's about 1 to 2 centimeters predicted to fall overnight tonight, and then Paradise Hill as well. And then we have -4 in Myrnam, -8 in Pearceland, -9 in Unity, -6 in Wainwright, and -3 out in Calgary. And Pearson and Unity, there's about an 88% chance of some snow tonight, 1 to 2 centimeters in Pearceland, and then about a 55% chance out in Unity. And then overnight tonight here in Lloydminster, we have about a 43% chance of some late flurries as well, with a low of -7. And then over the next 7 days here in Lloydminster, we are above 0, but it may feel a little bit cooler with that wind chill. But a high of +4 and a low of -4 for tomorrow. Very cloudy day out is predicted. And then on Wednesday, about a 48% chance of some flurries with a mix of sun and cloud, with a high of 0 and a low of -5. A high of +2 on Thursday with a mix of sun and cloud with a low of -6. On Friday, we have a very sunny day to look forward to with a high of +3 and a low of -5. +3 is also the daytime high on Saturday with a low of -3. Partial sunshine throughout the day, so it'll be a mix of sun and cloud. On Sunday, there's about a 59% chance of some snow with a high of +1 and a low of -8. And then back on Monday, low clouds but not as cold, with a high of +2 rather, and a low of -3. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Today I'm joined by Constable Kelsey Davidge, and we're going over some safe Halloween tips for this year. And to start, I'd like to talk about why you think it's important for us to go over these safe tips.
I wouldn't necessarily consider Halloween a dangerous holiday, but we do see maybe increased calls of service when Halloween comes around. We always have that increased traffic on the roadway, increased pedestrians walking on sidewalks, people going from house to house while trick or treating. So I just believe just more of the general public is out and about. We also see those parties that are involved with Halloween, right? People are in costumes, people may be drinking and driving, not getting those rides home or using a designated driver or a cab service. And then we have people in costumes and stuff, even physically seeing people falling while they're out trick or treating, right? Going to those emergency rooms or just needing more emergency services.
What are some tips for parents who are taking their kids out trick or treating?
For sure. Tips we recommend for trick or treating is have your children in something that you can see them in, right? Though those blacked out costumes look pretty cool, make sure they have some reflective something on it or reflective tape on maybe their coat or going out with a flashlight or something like that so you can physically see where your child is. We also recommend walking up one way of the sidewalk and returning on the other. This closes that risk of children going to and from houses, zigzagging across that street, and also helping those drivers that where again there's that increased pedestrian traffic out from homes. Another thing we recommend is making sure your child's costume is accessible and that they're able to walk around and move from house to house. Make sure they can't trip over something. With our cold weather coming in as well, making sure your child's dressed appropriately, right? If you're out for a couple hours trick or treating, make sure they're warm and comfortable when they're going home to home. And our final one I would say is just make sure you check everything that you are given from houses. Go over that candy and make sure there's nothing in there that's not supposed to be in there.
Can you go over some tips for drivers who are going to be seeing themselves on the road during those peak trick-or-treating hours?
Yeah, for sure. Again, watch out for those children or people walking on roadways, medians, or curbs. Be careful when using or coming up to those crosswise, I should say, because they probably will be a bit busier than normal. Watch out for other moving vehicles that are going from houses to houses. And in dusk or later times during the day, make sure we're looking out for people in dark clothing, and that we're just aware of, again, of that increased traffic and kind of expect the unexpected. Make sure you're being extra cautious and aware of people who are on those sidewalks and streets for trick or treating.
Were there any last safety tips that you'd like to share?
Yeah, again, I think it's up to you as a parent to go through your kid's candy. We always recommend looking through it just to make sure that there's nothing in there that there isn't supposed to be. If you do maybe have something that's been opened or you're not sure where it's from, you can always put it in the garbage and just decrease that risk by just throwing it out. But again, always go through anything that you receive, and it's up to you as that parent to make sure that if there's any allergies or anything that your child's allergic to, that you're going through it and being cautious of what you're giving to them, right?
That is all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Chief Norm Namier with the Lloydminster Rescue Squad. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, recently, very exciting news. Synovus Energy recently donated 100 grand to the rescue squad for to purchase a new airboat. Tell me about that donation, how it came to be, and the purposes of it.
So I think this year we were just trying to come up with a project, but the project kind of found us instead. So our old airboat has just been it's just been giving us a lot of trouble. So we thought, what do we do with it? And the timing was perfect because Ryan was in contact with Synovus and he filled out some application, and before we knew it, they approved it. So we were super excited, and then we were on the prowl. We didn't really have to go on a prowl because then all of a sudden an airboat popped up in this area. So we didn't have to go more than 65, 70K to go find this unit. And it was relatively, it's a used unit. It's a 2013, 19 foot by 8 feet wide. And it only had about 90 hours on it. So it was relatively, when you say new, but it was relatively new, with that kind of hours on it. So we're really excited. Some of the features we're looking in an airboat too. Our airboat is getting old. It doesn't have a floor. It has the ribs in the floor, so it's dangerous walking, slippery. This one has a floor, a permanent floor on its sides. And the main thing on this one too, that it had the flotation device, not device, but the flotation in it, and it's Coast Guard approved. So it's just one of those things. If you do have an accident, at least you'd be floating down the river instead of sinking. So and that hopefully that never comes. But so that was kind of a neat thing. It carries more people. We can carry another spotter up, so you can have the captain or the boat operator and another person on the side, another first responder, and you can look because you're high up, and so you always get that advantage, that height advantage point. So, and then we have two front seats on this new airboat too, so two people can comfortably sit in the front and actively look also. So we can carry a total of 4 people. We could carry a lot more because of the weight, the size of the boat. So we're excited with that, and it just can carry more equipment, which we seem to be adding all the time. So it's just a great new piece of equipment that we can now go with out there with confidence in.
And it seemed to work out perfectly, you guys being able to find this so close in town too. And the generous donation that was given. Why is it important, or how important is it for these donations to come in to, improve the equipment that you guys use, because your job is so important to the community?
Yes, no, the donation, again, like I said, it was just so perfectly timed. But if we don't get those donations, and we're so grateful for those, for the big and small, but for Synovus, it certainly makes you feel good, and we're certainly grateful for that, because we know that we can put that money to good use, that we can search now places. Again, with the airboat, is such a different piece of equipment that we can go down the river. So right now the river is relatively low. You're not going to get a prop down there without striking something. The airboat, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about a launch pad. We can launch pretty well, for most instances, anywhere we can, depending on the terrain. But it just gives us so many more options to respond. Whether it's in a river that's low like today is, and we've also taken it on the water. And we found that in more the waves don't affect this boat as bad as our smaller one did. So we can go on the water now. We can go in larger bodies of water also with our big boats, and we can search the shorelines or the inlets or the bays that the big boat can't go in because of the prop and just the depth of the water. But we can go up to an inch of water or less. So it really makes a huge difference if we're looking for someone. And I'll give you the example. Just prior to our gala on the Tuesday, we were called up to the Frog Lake First Nation to assist in searching for that 5-year-old. We were able to launch, and we had 5 people in the boat with our equipment, and we're able to search and clear, west of the area where the boy might have traveled. But he ended up farther east than that. But again, with the airboat, we can search into the reeds. We can search into places where sometimes it's not feasible for even a ground search to come down. So the boat just makes, and this in this instant, I know we were rubbing the bottom pretty hard a lot of places, and again, that just shows the ability of the boat and its capabilities. So it's just again, it's a wonderful piece of equipment that is really used in searches. And we average the airboats average anywhere from 5 to 6 calls a year, and sometimes more. And it's just we can go out, and again, in all types of weather now with this boat also. And we have the confidence of that we'll be able to do the job that we were called to do.
And it's amazing that you guys are able to upgrade that and, find a really good airboat that, will help improve your guys' job when you're out searching for somebody, which is amazing. And the fact that it all worked out perfectly, I think that makes it even better. And it just works out that way, especially it being in Lloyd. You got the big donation. So everything just fell into place like it was meant to be. Is there anything else that you would like to add in regards to what you guys do and the airboat or the donation itself?
Well, again, we go back to that donation. It's just for us, it's just a wonderful feeling that knowing that you have a company like Synovus that cares and that wants to provide a safe environment for everyone, not only in our area, which is cool, but we can go anywhere in the province of Saskatchewan, Alberta, and basically, if we were called somewhere else, we would go, and we have that capability because they're very far and few between boats that are able to do the job that we do in the water. So again, it's just it's a wonderful feeling, like I said, and it's just the gratitude and the acknowledgement that a company says that, hey, look, we see value in this, and so that's what makes it so worthwhile. And whether you go out in the daytime or in the nighttime, so it's wonderful.
No, that's totally awesome. And I know that, our community and the communities that you serve, they also see value in what you guys do because your jobs are so important. So, any way to improve what you guys do, I think it benefits everybody. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And I can't wait to see, where you guys go from here.
No, awesome. Thank you for having me and for sharing that information because I think that's just great for people to understand what we do and how we get some of our money. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We've got one last story before we're all wrapped up. Some sad news for elk and rider fans,
Yes.
unfortunately, because the 110th Grey Cup playoffs will kick off next weekend.
Into the end zone from Montreal.
The Montreal Alouettes will host the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Eastern Division semifinal Saturday afternoon. A few hours later, the Calgary Stampeders face the BC Lions in the Western semifinal. The winner will take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Western final November 11th. The Eastern final will be held in Toronto the same day, with the Argonauts coming off a franchise record 16 wins in the regular season. That also ties the league record.
Grey Cup is always super exciting time. Unfortunately, like you said at the beginning,
Yeah.
Elks and Riders fans,
It's tough in this
Tough.
area of Canada,
Yeah.
unless you're a Calgary Stampeder fan,
yeah. I am excited about Green Day though.
That's what we were talking
Green
about.
Day is
Yeah.
one of my favorite bands. I love that kind of genre of music, so it's
That's-
fantastic
yeah.
that they were able to secure such a great band for the halftime show.
No, I totally agree with you there. But that is all the time that we have for you on Primetime Local News. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.